Hi guys, welcome back. Today I will be starting a new repair video. Here I have a Space Invaders Deluxe set. I'm going to remove the tag for now. Okay, Space Invaders Deluxe. Sockets right off the bat. Problem. I'm going to have to clean up the edges. I got my pen here, and that should be okay. Well, no, that one's destroyed. Dang it. Let's see if you can see in here. If we got good enough light, I don't know. That one's bent, if you can see it, kind of right in the middle of the screen. And as we go, this is tough. That one's destroyed. See that? See that pushed back in there? This is tough to do. So I'm going to have to replace this. I'm going to have to replace that connector. So we'll do that. First things first, this thing's pretty dusty and dirty. I might be able to just blow that off because this doesn't look that bad. I don't know. Yeah, this one's pretty damn dirty. We're going to do some maintenance first thing. I'm going to replace the sockets, clean these chips. Replace this. Use my pen on the edges, the edge connectors, and clean them up. And I got to clean the chips good. They're all tarnished up. So let's do all of that. Before we do anything, I'm not sticking this thing down in there with that broken like that. So first things first is we're going to do some maintenance. So I'll do that kind of stuff and I'll be back in a flash. Okay, maintenance work has been done. I washed these boards thoroughly and it got a little bit of a white tint to it. Sometimes that happens when you clean the boards, these old circuit boards. I think it has to do with the solder mask that was used. Sometimes if it's cleaned and it's sprayed with alcohol, it'll turn white like this. So, I don't know. Anyway, I replaced these sockets. Look how nice and clean these ROMs came. It looked really good. Good and clean. Replaced this guy with a nice brand spanking new one. Replaced these caps. Made sure that none of these are short. These tantalum caps, I tested 5, neg 5 and 12 to ground, and there's no shorts, so none of those are blown out or shorted. None of them are shorted, I should say. Yeah, this is from doing those. Nice and cleaned up. This thing had a 08 right here. I don't know if it had been replaced at some point, but the work on the back was super messy. So I removed it, cleaned it up, and put a socket in there. I'll put a 08 in. And we'll be ready to start testing. I just cleaned this board, didn't do anything to it. Just cleaned it up really good. No work on the back of this. Yeah, this has never been messed with. That's good. All right, we do some testing out. Okay, we're all hooked up. I don't have audio hooked up, but I do have my reset circuit hooked to the reset pin up here. And I got this TV ready to go. So let's go ahead and fire it up. Okay. It's not really doing anything. Yeah, it ain't doing anything. All right, well, okay, well, it looks like I'm going to have to throw the fluke on this thing and see what it says. So let's go ahead and do that. Put our 8080 pod on this and see if our RAM and ROM are looking good or not. Okay, right away RAM is telling us we have a bad RAM bit, which is bit 80. So that is basically the most significant bit. Yeah, so okay. I want to pull up the fluke info of this game, and I want to do the ROM checks before I do that, because I want to see if I get read-write errors on that same bit. So on the ROM. So let me go ahead and do that, get some information and see if we have a common problem between ROM and RAM, or do we just have a bad RAM? Because I believe the ROM and the RAM share the same data path back. Do they? I don't know. I'd have to look at the schematic. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some ROM checks. Alright, so I printed off our fluke info right there and ran all of these ROM tests, and they were all good. So we have clear paths to talk to our ROM, but we just have a bad bit, a bad RAM bit, and I bet you it's just a bad RAM. So I want to look at bit 8. Boy, I wish I had that test ROM. You know, I'm going to look and see if I have that put away somewhere, because I think that would tell me what my bad ROM is, or my bad RAM. But we can... yeah, we can figure it out just by what the fluke is telling us. It's bit 8 of the, it's the most significant bit of the upper 4-bit of the upper nibble. So it's bit 7 basically is the one that's bad, the highest bit. So I want to look at the schematic and make sure that the ROM data is the same path as the RAM data. I don't know if it is or not. It may not be. So this may be this might not be a bad RAM per se, as much as it might be a bad transceiver back to the CPU. If it's not used by the ROM, I want to look at that first and make sure that, because if the ROM path is straight to the CPU, then this may not be just as easy as a bad RAM. This could be a bad, a bad driver back. So I don't know. We'll see. Probably just a bad RAM, but I don't want to assume that just yet. I'll be back. Okay. I basically just probed around and everything looked good in the decoding. I didn't see anything stuck any which way. And I probed all of the output pins of all of the RAM, and they all looked good. So I just decided to go ahead and remove bit 7 on both banks here, because I don't know which one it is, right? So I just removed both of them, bit 7, because that's, remember, my fluke was telling me 80, which actually means the highest bit, 8 and then 0. 1 0 0 0 and then 0 0 0 0. Zeros meaning that the bits are good. A set bit meaning that it's bad. So the highest bit was bad. That's why the fluke said 8 0. I just removed both of these guys and tested them. The Inquisitor, this one tested good. I don't know which one came out of which spot, to be honest with you. I didn't keep track. But this one's definitely bad. So let me run the test. Yeah. So that was our bad RAM, and that one is fine. So I'll socket here and here. I'll put that RAM back in the board and put a new one right here, and that should fix our RAM problem. Unless, I mean, it's possible, it's completely possible now that we might run into more bad RAM. I don't know. We'll see. You see I got new RAM in there, socketed. And we just passed that RAM check. Now let's do the whole thing, the whole shebang. Oops. You'll notice when it gets to 2400 on there, that's when you'll start seeing that kind of stuff. That's video RAM. 2400 to 3FF is video RAM. So very good. I think what I'm going to do is just stop this. I want to do a long check. I want to do a RAM long on this. So let's go stop, long. And I'm going to let this go, and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, my long RAM test over the whole range failed at around address 2B something. And I've actually got the board running right now, and you'll see it does some funky stuff. See little stars all over the place? We have a RAM issue of sorts. It may be in the decoding. There's something flaky. It might be a bad RAM that is disguised as being good, but is really not. So I'm going to exercise this board some more with the fluke, and I'm going to, do specific RAM long tests in specific areas and try to narrow down where my problem is. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. I'll be back. Okay, I ran into that same pattern error at RAM 2, address 2B something or other, and I hit more, and it said that the data was 80 instead of 00. So that most significant bit was high again, was not working again. So I removed the RAM that I had put in, and this is a RAM that came out of a board. And I put in a new RAM back there. I'm going to see if that makes a difference. I don't know. We'll see if this passes this. And if it fails, I think I will put a new RAM in the other spot. And if it fails, then we got a problem other than RAM, basically. But being that that was not a brand new, this is about where it will fail, right around here somewhere. Right here, it's going to fail. If it'll fail, it'll fail now. Any time around here. Still going. It worked. Let's run this thing and see if we still get that little starry nonsense up here. It might have just been a bad RAM I put in it. Yeah, it looks like that was it. Just a bad RAM. Yeah, it looks good now. Okay, so that was it. This RAM right here was no good. This RAM that I had, and like I said, this had come out of a board, and it has a leg soldered to it, so I don't know what the deal is there, but yeah, it's just not good. I'm not going to keep that. So now we're looking good. Got to test out the sounds and everything, make sure all the sounds are there. So I can put the fluke up, and I might make some kind of a harness for this to plug into the control ports and stuff, and make it a little more legit. So I think I'll do that. Thank you very much, Mr. Fluke. I appreciate it as always. Space potatoes. And for some reason, these arcade boards on these TVs like this, you can see where the Midway manufacturing or whatever is up there is. It's hidden underneath the shroud. That looks good. Sweet. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, we are running, but we have issues. Well, first of all, the CPU was bad. Had a dead CPU in it. So I replaced that. And I did some wiring up. I got a solid reset circuit connection now, and I got power to the sound amp, and I got speaker in and out, or speaker out, I should say, and coin switch. I have a coin switch wired up. So I have my pin out right here. All of your controls. Those are for this guy right here. So we'll go ahead and coin up. So far so good. One player start is 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, we're starting. Okay, this is 2 is right, 3 is left. Okay, good. Fire is 6, no fire, doesn't work. Seven is player 1 start. Player 2 left is 11, so that's this. And then player 2 right is 12. So I don't know, player 1 and player 2 move the same. And then fire for this one is player 2 fire is 10. Fire just doesn't work. Yeah, fire don't work. So I'm thinking maybe I don't know. I don't know how this works. That's player 1 and player 2 both move the guy. Both move the spaceship. It doesn't seem right to me, to be honest. I don't know though. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to study over the schematic. And we don't have no sounds, as you can see. There's no sound. The amp works. I don't know if you pick that up, but you can hear almost hear the spaceship in the background whirring if I turn it up all the way. I know the amp works, but we got no sound at all. So yeah, we got some fixing to do on this guy. So that's what we're going to do. I'll be back. All right, I've got my schematic here and I've been poking around on this thing, and I've found 3 bad chips for sure. Remember we didn't have fire? The input is stuck low on this. How that works is it's high, and then when you ground it, the input goes low and the output goes high. Well, it's stuck low. This goes high and this goes low when you ground the pin. That goes low, but that stays low. So that chip's no good. That'll fix the fire. And then we got 2 174s, which I'll show you. They have floating outputs, and these things should never have a floating output. Let me move this. Okay. Oops. There's a floating output. And I believe there's another floating output right here. Yep. 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 Yeah, so there's 2. And that's these 2 guys, which basically start all of the sounds. You know. So yeah. So I want to stop and replace those 3 parts. And then, you know, see what we got going on after that. Alright, I replaced these guys. And my fire is now working. As you'll see. See that? But the sounds are jacked up. Check this out. Let's go ahead and start again. I've got a 3900 jumped over right here. I'm going to remove it. Without that, I get no sounds. What I'm going to do, which is a good practice to do with these things, is I'm going to go ahead and replace every one of those 3900 op amps, because they need to be, because they blow out. You know, they're original, they're old, they're getting replaced. So I'm going to go ahead, stop, replace all of those, and then see where we're at. We're closer. Game over. Start another game. Oh, darn it. Yeah. All right. All of these amps have been replaced. All of the 3900s have been replaced. Basically, what I think is the problem, there is a switch right here, a 4016, and then there's a noise generation down here. It's like a 4006 and something else. I don't remember. Some CMOS chip. I'm going to go ahead and just replace those three parts. And I believe this thing will be fixed. So just do that. It'll be renewed and refreshed and good to go. I'll be right back. Okay, we are back together once again after replacing that guy and those two on the end there. Let's see what we got. Coin up, start. My speakers do not like that thump. Alright, let's do that again. I was messing around a little bit. Ah, couldn't move in time. Come on, saucer. Damn it. Let's hang out and see if we can wait for him again. One more try. Oops. Yes. That's a good enough test. And I have a player one score up there. I'm going to let this thing run. Yeah. Game over. I'm going to let it sit here and just run for a few hours and should be good to go. So I replaced the sockets. I replaced this RAM back here. Cleaned the chips Clean the legs on the chips. Replaced a bunch of stuff on this board here. Replaced that chip right there, the 7414 for the input, the two 174s, all of the 3900 amps, the 4016 right here, and the 4030 and the 4006, all replaced. And this I replaced this guy right here, that connector, remember, the edge connector. And I did these caps here. I reflowed all of these headers. Yeah, this guy right here, remember? Had the funky pin in there. Yeah. Alright. This baby should be good to go now. I'm going to let it run, make sure nothing fails. So, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next Classic Arcade Repair. Peace out. Space potatoes.